To keep the status of China as a great power, the Chinese Communist Party, led by Xi Jinping, must conquer a number of domestic as well as global challenges. The CCP has been in power ever since Mao Zedong's party ousted opposition nationalists and founded the People's Republic in 1949. Leader Xi Jinping, who has strengthened the party's grip over society since 2012 and restored the party's significant position in society, has emphasized China's global power. What does the CCP think of Xi Jinping's leadership? All eyes will be on one man in the run-up to the Chinese Communist parties. Prior to the Congress, the CCP made great efforts to suppress any causes of what it considers to be social instability in order to create the conditions for a smooth party Congress. Nevertheless, a rare public demonstration against Xi's rule that occurred in Beijing demonstrated how unrest is simmering beneath the surface. Like all previous protests, this one was swiftly put down by the police and internet mentions of it were removed. What happened to the demonstrator is unknown as of this writing, but given how the party typically handles Xi's detractors, the punishment is probably going to be severe. China, according to the hagiographic narrative of official media, has only succeeded once under Xi Jinping's leadership. It is required of the entire party to learn Xi Jinping thought. Because of this, it is generally anticipated that Xi will assume at the 20th Party Congress a record-breaking third term as General Secretary of the Chinese Communist Party. To be sure, the Chinese government has achieved some modest improvements in the 10 years since Xi took office. China's air quality has improved, its overall power has grown, and it has made some progress towards fulfilling its climate change obligations. However, Xi Jinping has also made a number of avoidable mistakes in both home and foreign policy, which will surely cripple China for centuries to come. Crucially, human rights advocates have courageously called attention to Xi's errors at every opportunity. Wang Yi, a foreign minister, once claimed that the Chinese people are in the best position to have a say about China's human rights situation. However, the CCP under Xi has gone to great lengths to silence its critics of human rights as opposed to welcoming constructive criticism from the Chinese people. What are these situations that have led to this crisis? Examine Zhi Xiaolong's situation. After calling for the resignation of the Shanghai Party secretary due to the humanitarian disaster resulting from the city's 3-month lockdown in the spring of 2022, Xi, a dissident from Shanghai, was first detained and then arrested. In addition, he denounced Xi's mad ambition for trying to maintain power by changing the constitution. Xi faced 7 police summonses in 2022 as a result of his public criticism of Xi's zero-COVID policy, which he saw to be having terrible real-world effects in Shanghai. The majority of analysts today believe that China's economy has suffered greatly as a result of the zero-COVID strategy. The World Bank has reduced its growth estimate for the country from 5% to 2.8%. According to several analysts, China is no longer predicted to surpass the United States as the largest economy because of how severe the economic crisis is. But Xi's rule has been harmful in other areas other than economic incompetence. Consider the example of Li Yuan, who personifies the rule of law. Essentially, the 709 crackdown exposed one of Xi Jinping's biggest errors, his decision to reject a system based on the rule of law. Xi had the option of bringing China closer to the principles of international human rights law, which holds the powerful, including political parties, responsible. Instead, as Xi proposed early in his reign, he decided to solidify a system in which law primarily functions to solidify CCP authority and, consequently, his power, as opposed to placing power in a cage. The party's leadership is upheld by the socialist rule of law, as stated euphemistically in party papers. This power is entirely cage-free. In its evaluation of the state of Xinjiang's human rights, the UN stated on August 31st that the Chinese government may be committing crimes against humanity. The study also made it clear that none of the Uyghurs who were detained and put in re-education camps had access to attorneys of their choosing. In fact, contrary to China's own criminal procedure law and constitution, no Uyghur intellectuals, as far as CHRD is aware, have had any access to any attorneys of their choosing since Ilham Tohti. Furthermore, what would be the feelings of millions of Uyghurs who endured rape and other horrendous forms of torture while being held in extrajudicial detention toward those responsible for their treatment? How will the future generation of Uyghurs comprehend these atrocities? It is plausible that there may have been a significantly higher level of genuine inter-ethnic peace and less strained ties with Western nations. This is not to be confused with China's legislature, the National People's Congress, PDF. Members select the Central Committee during this period. The committee is made up of around 370 members and alternates who include ministers, military officers, senior regulatory officials, and provincial leaders. The Central Committee, which serves as the CCP's equivalent of a board of directors, is obliged to convene plenums or annual meetings. The Politburo, consisting of 25 members, is likewise chosen by the Central Committee. Subtle, behind-closed-door talks are used by the Politburo to select the Politburo Standing Committee in turn. The CCP's leadership and power center is the Standing Committee, whose membership has fluctuated between 5 and 9 members. As the General Secretary of the party, she is in charge. China's version of a cabinet, the State Council, is led by the Premier, Li Keqiang. Li is anticipated to leave in March 2024. Members of the Politburo have been expected to resign at the age of 68 following a precedent set in 2002. Even though Xi will be 70 in 2023, he plans to serve a third term. Analysts predicted that elderly Politburo Standing Committee members would most likely adhere to the retirement age and resign before the next conference. Even while the Standing Committee, Politburo, and Central Committee often provide broad policy direction, the Chinese government is sometimes very fragmented. According to Mensing Pei of Claremont McKenna College, policies can emerge haphazardly from think tanks and consultants, the Central Committee, the National Party Congress, bureaucracies, and ministries. Chinese provinces have a great deal of autonomy, and the central government greatly influences local governments through the appointment of sub-provincial leaders and bureaucrats. The People's Liberation Army, PLA, China's armed wing of the Communist Party, CCP, is primarily charged with upholding the party's interest and preserving its control. The People's Armed Police, which is mostly concerned with domestic security, and the PLA are both under the direction of the CCP's Central Military Commission, which is presently led by Xi, particularly with respect to the PRC's increasingly global interest and its aims to revise aspects of the international order, according to a 2020 U.S. Defense Department report, PDF, on China's military. What is your take on the CCP's take on Xi Jinping? Also, what are your thoughts on Xi Jinping's rule in China? Do let us know your thoughts in the comments section. For more interesting stories and updates, subscribe to our channel, and do not forget to press the bell icon for notifications. Goodbye!